Welcome everybody. This is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform weekly community call with Microsoft speakers and presenters. So basically the people who are building the software, building and creating the things and doing the specification, coordinating things like PMs, engineers, cloud advocates, and so on. Today is April 8th. My name is Ayça Juvonen. I'm a principal product manager at Microsoft on the community areas and focusing really on the open source and community. Now today we'll do a quick recap on all of the different assets which are available. I'll try to be faster there a bit, but it's always important to recap all of the different things which are available because we always have new people joining on these calls as well. Then we go to the group picture with together mode in Teams. So feel free to enable your video advance or during that time, and we can hopefully fill in the 50 seats which are in the room for that one. And then we go to the actual stars of today, who will be Kanna, Ayça, and then April and David in the end. Today we're going to talk about next-gen data management for Power Platform, Fabric, and Copilot, and also enhancing custom engine agents with Azure AI and Teams AI Library. That's a really, really interesting topic as well. And then April and David is going to talk about using Power Platform Snippets, and this is cross to different Power Platform, including Copilot Studio and many, many other things as well. And probably they will show you how to contribute as well, which is really, really cool. Hopefully I'm not spilling the beans or anything over there. Now, a quick recap on all of the different assets around our community channels, especially on this particular side of the house. So we do have our YouTube channel where all of the videos and recordings are getting published, including this video. So if you're new in this call and your first time here and you're wondering, well, can I share the recording with somebody? Answer is yes. Within 24 hours, the recording will be available within that YouTube channel. On top of that, we have LinkedIn stuff, open source stuff, sample galleries, and a lot of different assets available. One URL or two URLs right now on the list, but either one of them works on the same way, which is AKMS Community Home or community.ms, and that's a relatively new domain which we are also using. Both of them redirect to the same location, so you can find all of the different assets which are available. Among other things, there's a lot of details around our community calls, so there's a lot of community calls what we're doing, and there's a growing demand for this. We just had a meeting related on to future planning of the community calls, and there's a massive demand for these calls, which is great for both presenters and on attendance. We already have had more than 7,500 people in these calls within this calendar year, which is mind-boggling. And last calendar year, I think we have 32,000 people joining on these community calls, which is really, really cool. On Tuesdays, we have the Power Platform, Microsoft 365 Power Platform community call with weekly and Microsoft speakers. Already flagging this one here on July and August. This call is on a summer break. That's mainly because Microsoft people are typically taking time off during that time period, and it would be hard to schedule anybody there. Now, on top of that, we have Power Platform Monthly, which is more community people presenting, Office Add-ins Monthly, which is Microsoft people presenting, and then our 7 a.m. Pacific time series, which is either Microsoft 365 Power Platform Community Call or Viva Connection SharePoint Framework Community Call. So those are happening. Either one of them is happening 7 a.m. on Thursday, every single Thursday, which is really, really cool. And those will keep on going, regardless of holidays and summertime, holiday season, doesn't matter. Every single Thursday, 7 a.m. Pacific time, that call will happen. It's either one of those. You can download the recurrent invites at a community calls URL, and we always publish the agendas advance in the Meetup service. That's a great location to sign up as well to get subscribed and details around the agendas whenever we publish the agendas for the following week. For a lot of those calls, we do welcome community presenters. At AKMS Community Request Demo, you will find a form which you fill in, and then you will get scheduled based on the availability of the calls. Now, I will openly say this right now, we are overwhelmed by the number of people who are signing up to do demos within this course. So thank you for that one. But that is a bit of a challenge as well, because we need to schedule you pretty far in the future. So we do apologize on that one. It's mainly because people are so excited about the call, which is a positive problem and a bit of a challenging problem for us as well, because we would like to get you as fast to present as possible, but that is not necessarily always possible. Always try to get this sorted out fast as well. But right now, there's a massive demand for those throughout the spring and summertime, and hopefully it will balance out a bit later. Now, we do have a lot of assets available for you to get started in Microsoft Cloud at learn.microsoft.com. There's a lot of things, Copilot Studio, M365 development, Power Platform, all up. There's a lot of modules available, and it's all free. So please do take advantage of that one at learn.microsoft.com. And there's a lot of material across the different topics within the Microsoft technologies. We also have a lot of samples available for you to get started at Microsoft 365 Power Platform Sample Gallery, which is a great location where we're aggregating all of the samples from GitHub from both Microsoft and community. So it's not just Microsoft providing their samples, but it's also aggregating community samples to a single location to get you inspired and get examples for you to get unblocked within your day-to-day work. AKMS Community Samples is the location on there. Now, if you're wondering on contributing your sample in or how to get started on consuming those samples, we do have our Sharing is Caring initiative, and we have our stars from LA, David Warner, to talk about what is Sharing is Caring all about. Quick intros. What is it, David? What is it?
Yes.
Sharing is Caring.
Thank you, Vesa. Hold on. Let me go get a star. I can find one. It's LA. They're everywhere, right? Just kidding, everybody. So what is Sharing is Caring? It is a live hands-on session of meetings that we will be in within teams, showing you how to contribute, how to utilize the technology that we know and love. Now, we're getting a session scheduled this week. Thank you for your patience. We're scaling. We're looking at potentially setting up a regular session that's always on the same date and time of the month for consistency. So if that's something that you think you would like, knowing that it's always going to be on the same date, shout out in the chat, let us know, because we're looking for ways to improve this to meet everybody's demanding needs, or growing needs, not demanding needs, demand for the interest. So demanding. So, anyways, we love you. It is a live session. It is hands-on. It is safe space. We do not record it, and it's how you can learn how to contribute to the community amongst other topics. So we're getting scalable. Thank you for your patience. Be on the lookout this week. Absolutely. It's a fun time, and it counts as a contribution. And why does it matter that it counts as a contribution? Well, it's because we want to recognize you for the amazing contributions you're making, and that is our recognition program. We've got tons of badges, Prompt Pro, Snippet Sorcerer, which we'll talk about today. We've got the hackathons that just wrapped up. That SharePoint hackathon's going out today, so be on the lookout just after this call. Repo Rescue and Report. We are live in the Star Wars campaign right now. I've seen a few of those open source Be With You badges out there. People are so close to the Fork Awakens and Rise to Contribute. You just need to contribute 1, 3, or 5 times over the next 3 months, and you can get the whole set. So thank you. Just need you to opt in, ak.ms/community/recognition. 0 cost. By the way, absolutely no cost. We cover the cost. These badges are official and accredited. And while we're having fun with it, everybody, it does show that you're making a difference in the community. So celebrate them, put them on your resume, on your LinkedIn profile, and let your clients and bosses know that you are making the difference in the community. Thank you. Vesa, back to you.
Excellent. Thank you, David, on that one. So what was the cost again? What was the cost?
$0. $0.
There we go. There we go. Excellent. Excellent. So thank you, David, on the update on there. And again, you will see those badges getting acknowledged and shared in the LinkedIn. You probably have seen them if you are in LinkedIn and social media. Thank you for sharing those forward. Really, really cool as well. Now, we do have a lot of events happening across the Microsoft 365 Power Platform. The next big one is Microsoft 365 Community Conference happening in May 6th to 8th in Las Vegas. Really, really cool opportunity to catch up with many of us as well. We'll be there to work with you and talk with the community. And then we have Build coming up in Seattle and online in May 19th to 22nd. I think the in-person experience is already fully booked, but the online experiences is a great option to stay up to date on what's happening in Build as well. More details on that one, build.microsoft.com. Later in May, we have the ECS, or a combination of 3 conferences, the European Collaboration Summit as an ECS, European AI and Cloud Summit, and European BizHub Summit happening at Düsseldorf at the same time. And that's expected to have more than 3,000 attendees. Really, really cool setup as well. That's going to be pre-day and 2 conference days at Düsseldorf. Really, really great venue as well. Now, on that other side of the pond, we have Seattle, Atlanta, and Dallas in TechCon 365 happening starting from June 23rd to 27th within Seattle, then followed by Atlanta and Dallas later this year. Really, really great conferences as well. Coming back on Las Vegas in October 28th and 13th is the Power Platform Community Conference that is happening in the MGM as well. Same location as the Microsoft 365 Community Conference in spring, but this one focuses more on Power Platform topics. Of course, Copilot Studio AI will be in focus areas as well. And then later this year, November 17th, we have Ignite coming up on. Not all of the details are yet available, but it is happening as an in-person event at San Francisco, California in the week of November 17th. Really, really cool option as well. And then the last bigger one this year will be in these areas, will be the European SharePoint Conference, which is our European SharePoint Microsoft 365 Azure Conference. I guess it's the bigger, longer name. That's happening in Dublin in the 1st to 4th of December 2020. Really, very great venue. This conference has been there in the past as well and will be definitely good. On top of these bigger conferences, there's a lot of other smaller events happening all around the world, user groups and smaller conferences and community gatherings. So please take advantage of communitydays.org to stay up to date on all of the different options which you have to partner and meet up with the community as well. Now, quick recap on this week's news. A lot of actually news this week across multiple different channels. Also, Power Platform had a lot of really exciting announcements. For example, introducing agent flows, transforming automation with AI-first workflows when GA, which is a really big news from last week as well. So really, very great option. Now, before we go to the Get Mode picture, we also wanted to remind everybody on our Copilot prompts series, which is really, really great. It's getting more and more contributions all the time. And this is basically a location where you can have a example prompts what people are using for Microsoft Copilot. So really learning what the Copilot can provide for end users. And the prompt of the week is this time coming from Nish, and it's basically a summarizing sessions and key topics discussed on a certain conference and basically aggregating information to a usable format and definition based on the end user. So a really great example how you can use the Copilot to work on behalf of you to gathering the information. But that's a quick intro on the things. And before we go to the actual stars of the day, right on the schedule, we do have a group photo. So let me move in here and let me enable my camera as well. And let me actually flip the scene a bit. So we'll actually do, I like the green one. Green one is really nice. So we do have 50 seats in the room. And we are pretty pixel perfect if we can actually get the scene flipped. It doesn't actually flip, but let me get the Camtasia here opened. Maybe the theme is then fine. Oh, now it's flipping because it's pausing. No, not yet. Fine. It doesn't do that. So we do have 50 seats in the room. We do have a few more seats. Let's wait a few more seconds before we get started. Somebody is really working like a ghost. Oh, that's Peter coming on and off on the camera with the kid as well. I guess we're good. We are just to avoid that we don't take too much time. Let me put the recording on 3, 2, 1. Let's do some hand waving, everybody. Thank you for joining one more time. Thank you for joining on the community calls. Great to have you on the call. Awesome to see so many familiar faces and smiling faces on this calls. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We'll grab a GIF animation out of this and share it in social media. Thanks, everybody. Really, really cool. And then it is time to go to the actual stars of the day. So we'll start with a Kanna to talk about the next-gen data management for Power Platform Fabric and Copilot. Then we move to Ayça, and then April and David as the last presenters of the day. But Kanna, are you ready to go?
Yes.
Excellent. So
all right, let me take over.
Yep, absolutely. Share your screen and we'll move forward from there. Microphone is all good. Definitely. Screen sharing is starting.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And it's a pleasure to meet everyone here. And today I'm going to talk about virtual tables, one of the sources of data that we could use in Power Apps, we could use in Copilot, we could use in Fabric, and how we can manage data without bringing in to Power Platform and benefit out of this data capability that we have in Power Platform. So today, as part of our agenda, we're going to look at what are virtual tables, what are the current feature offerings that we have, what are the different use cases, and I will also do a live demo. And so feel free to, if you have any questions, let me know, but I will try to fit in within this time and try to cover all the features possible within this time. So as you can see that virtual tables are basically a metadata of external data sources, and it's a mirror image of that in Power Platform, and virtual tables pull data at runtime. And one of the biggest advantage of virtual tables is that the data can still reside in external source, and Dataverse in Power Platform acts as a conduit for bringing or mirroring that data in your Power Apps, or in your virtual Copilot scenarios, or in Fabric in runtime. So it's basically an abstraction of the external data sources. Uh, as in this example, the SQL, SharePoint, Azure, these are all you can virtualize it into um, the Power Platform in Dataverse. What are the capabilities we have in virtual tables? So today, as part of our virtual table offerings, out of the box, we have SQL connectors, we have Oracle connectors, Snowflake, and many other connectors that are there, which you can use to virtualize the data, which is an external source, into Dataverse. But you can also build your own connector, and you can build your own custom virtual connector provider, and bring data of your own choice into Dataverse. When I say bring your data, just bring the metadata of your choice into Dataverse, but the data still remains in the external source. This is primarily very useful if you have a SQL database or an Oracle database with large sets of volumes of data, and you don't want to bring in these large volumes of data into Dataverse. And this is a great opportunity for you to keep the data in the source, but still go ahead and create a metadata of that virtual source in Dataverse and bring them in. But on top of that, some of the key benefits and features of virtual tables is the ability to create relationship. So the power of Dataverse, where you can build, you can create different tables and create relationship between these tables, is extended to virtual tables as well. So you can create relationship between a virtual table and a Dataverse native table, or virtual table to another virtual table. So it can be two different sources. That could be a SQL database and an Oracle, and you wanted to create a relationship in Dataverse, and it is possible today. And of course, you can create a relationship between Dataverse table and virtual table. If time permits, I'll try to see if I can show all the three, but certainly at least one aspect of it I can cover it today. And of course, along with creating these relationships, you want to be able to filter and look up for the data using the virtual table column or the native table column. And so those capabilities are also enabled as part of this virtual table capability, which also we will try to see today as to how you can apply filters, and also how we can sort by columns using native tables on virtual tables. There are some classic use cases which we support. Some of our customers use scenarios when the data, especially in the insurance industry, the data claims related information resides in a SQL or Oracle database, but the native Dataverse contains the information about the customer, the policyholder, and then they apply filter and search based on that, and the app sits on top of this virtual tables. There is a video here, but instead I would switch to a live demo, and I will show you how we can create virtual tables, and also create relationship between virtual tables and Dataverse native tables. So let me share that part of it. So let me quickly explain what the base here is. So I have two data sets. So there is a retail store that I've created. It contains the store number, the different store names, and what it has in terms of where it is located, and store contact information. But I also have another table, which is basically in a SharePoint in this example. And the SharePoint has the inventory details about each of these stores, what products they have, and who is the manager, and what the contact information, and things like that. And so, what I am planning to do is now first create a virtual table. So, let me go ahead and create a virtual table. And I already have a database native table. What I'm planning to do now is virtualize the um, SharePoint data into um, Dataverse. So let me, I clicked on create virtual table. I choose a source, and then I add, I choose the location where the data is located. And I know, because I know where it is, I chose the communication site. And then it gives me all the options, all the lists that are available within the SharePoint. And in this instance, I wanted the store manager details. So I'm choosing store manager details to be virtualized in Dataverse. It goes and brings in all the columns that are there in the uh, list, but it also creates additional columns as part of a system requirement, and there are a few more tables. And it identifies which column to be a primary key. If you wanted to change it, we can change it. When I look at it, everything seems right. The ID should be the primary key. It's a unique value in that list, and I know that. And everything else seems right. And so now I just move forward. But if there is any reason you wanted to go and modify it, change it, you always go, you have the options to go back, or you can once again click on edit configuration table to change the uh, primary column and things like that. Or if you want to choose a different list, you can go click the choose different list to change the entire list or location, or choose a different list. All that option is available. And now it looks good. So I'm going to say finish. In the next few seconds, it is going to create a table in Dataverse. Um, but I've already created this table, so I'm going to just go, maybe I'll go back. I'll show this table here. So I have the store manager details already created. It is a virtual table, and you can see that it has all the uh, data available. And now the next step in this process is to create a relationship. And so when you click on this table, let's see if this is also created. Okay. So when you click on this relationship, you can go ahead and create a relationship. And in this case, you can create many to one to many, or many to many relationship. And this is a native table, and we are going to create a relationship between native table and a virtual table. In the interest of time, I had already created a relationship. So this is how the relationship looks like. So I have created a relationship between the native table and the virtual table, store manage details. And it shows what the column is that I wanted it to be referenced in the native table. And so that's how the relationship is built now. And we save it. And to view how this all this data come together, we can go ahead and look at views. So let's go ahead and create a new view. And so let me call it as store manager view. And then I say create. Okay, so as you can see, it has already created a few columns that have come in. But if I wanted to add store manager details, this is the lookup column. And so this is the retail store, and I've added the lookup column store manager details that we just added into the virtual table. And then I'm going to look for the related table, which is the virtual table here. And I want to add the store manager, manager contact, and maybe manager email. And because we already created the relationship successfully, the Dataverse native table is now connected to the virtual table, and it pulls in all the information in runtime. And so for each of the stores, it knows what the manager is and who the contact is and their corresponding email. So I can either sort by store number. This would sort those by store number. As you can see, it sorted the store number. But or if I want to filter it, and so I can apply filter on the so maybe I on the columns and say maybe I want to look at a store is sorry ST001 001 and I apply and I can see for this Bellevue store the email is Bellevue Corp and of course the corresponding information about the store manager which is coming in from virtual table or in this example it's basically coming from SharePoint list and we are basically virtualizing it. I'll pause here for a couple of seconds. Any question?
There's 2 questions in the chat, but from a timing perspective, I think it's better to follow up on those after because we do have 2 demos coming up still today.
Okay. So got it. I will follow up. In the interest of time, what I will do then, though, is that I will once again share one more video, and that might be really quick. So we saw how we can virtualize these data in Dataverse, but we can also create a relationship with connect to Fabric, and that is one of the beauty of virtual tables. And so this video will quickly show you how you can create that relationship. So it's straight. You choose the table from Dataverse and say you wanted to be connected to Fabric and create a connection using the process. The system automatically creates a copy of your virtual table in Fabric, and the data is available in Fabric as a virtual data for you to go and build reports on top of Fabric. Some of the use cases, as you can see, is from a business intelligence analytics perspective. You can connect to Fabric and create various KPIs, and using Copilot, you can create KPI-driven alerts and actions for using virtual tables. The other obvious example is the data lakes and warehouses. You can build app to maintain. So if you have data in Fabric, you can virtualize Fabric data into Power Platform and create model-driven app or a Canvas app on top of that data. And that is also possible. One of the classic example is the budget planning and forecasting, the data available in data warehouse or in Fabric, and you can go and build these apps on top of that. And then, of course, the cloud integration. If the data is elsewhere and you have data in another cloud server, you can virtualize that data without copying the data into Dataverse and still build apps. And you can also build Copilot agent applications on top of that. And also create an actionable workflow, Power Automate flow using that data. And that kind of concludes my part of the demo. And I'll yield some time back. I have a survey. I will post that survey link in the chat. And when you get a chance, take a look at the survey. And yeah. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Kanna. Really, really cool. Great summary and quick summary on things. Awesome stuff. And a lot of excitement on the chat as well. So let's follow up on those questions over there. But thank you, Kanna, on really cool setup. Now, let's then move to Ayça. We're going to talk about enhancing custom engine agents with Azure AI and Teams AI Library.
Thanks, Vesa. Let me share my screen quickly. Yep. Okay, are you able to see my slides?
Screen sharing is starting, and I can see the slides. Take it away.
Okay, perfect. Thanks everyone for joining. In today's session, we're going to actually do the second and third exercise in Copilot Developer Camp. My name is Ayça. I'm a cloud developer advocate. And if you've never heard of Copilot Developer Camp, we've been doing series for the community calls in the past couple of weeks. My colleagues and I were showing you how you can build the exercises. So we were basically doing the exercises together in the community calls. In today's session in particular, we are focusing on custom engine agents. In our last session in custom engine agents, we covered how you can get started building your first custom engine agent using Teams Toolkit. And we are going to follow up where we left off, and we will just continue building on top of what we already have. So without losing any time, let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're in Copilot Developer Camp, and this session is about build path, where we have build custom engine agent. In the last session, I covered how you can build your first custom engine agent. So this session is going to be about B2 and B3, where we integrate our custom engine agent with Azure AI Search, and next enhancing the user experience using some of the Teams AI library capabilities. So in the B2, what we're going to do actually, we're going to create Azure resources, one of which Azure AI Search, and the other one is this storage account where we're going to use blob storage. And then we will create text embedding ADA model to be able to use vector search in our custom engine agent. We will upload some of resumes so that our Career Genie agent will be able to help us find the right candidate for our job description. So without going any details in the text, I just want to show you how you can actually do that on Azure. So I already created these resources. So last week, we've already seen how you can create Azure OpenAI and how you can get to work with OpenAI on AI Foundry. And this week, we have two more resources. One is search and another one is the storage. So by using these two, we are going to actually create a data source together, and then we will connect this in our custom engine agent. Okay, so as you know from the previous session, if you go into OpenAI, Azure OpenAI resource, then there is an option in the overview where you can go to the AI Foundry. And if you click to that, you will be directed to Azure AI Foundry. So my resource, Azure OpenAI, is selected here. And I just want to show you one important thing, which are the deployment models. If you go to deployment models, you will be able to see all of the created deployment models available. So we created GPT-4o last week to be able to use in our custom engine agent. And this week, we are going to also use text embedding ADA model to be able to vectorize our data and to be able to use vector search with our data. So if you want to create those from scratch, you just need to click on deploy base model, and then you can search the name of the model, hit confirm, and you'll be able to create it right away. So let's go to chat first, which is the chat playground, and create our data set in Azure AI Search, and then move on by testing everything in chat. So I'll select add your data. There's an option called add a data source. In this session, so if you follow Copilot Developer Camp, you will be you guided to select upload files, and then you're going to have to select blob storage, Azure AI search resource, and I'm going to share that very quickly. And then you will have to provide the name of your index once it's loaded. Resumes, I already have resumes, so I'm going to just select resumes 2. And we need to select add vector search to this search resource. That means that we're enabling vector search in our data set. That actually means, I'm going to show you in a second, it creates a vector content in addition to our text content. In that case, we are able to not just do keyword search, but on top of everything, we are able to do vector search, which means we are able to get data in relevance instead of getting the data directly word by word. So you can read more in our Copilot Developer Camp labs, but that actually means that even if you don't have complaint, let's say, in the documents, with vector search, we are able to identify if there's a complaint in the document so that you're able to retrieve the related data out of it. So it's kind of a really advanced search experience. I'm going to select my embedding model here. And then next is just selecting all of the files we have available. And these are all the resumes, 35 resumes we have. And it's uploading the files. Next, you have to select search type. For this demo, we will select vector and keyword together. And we will keep this size as default. We will choose API key as the authentication type. And then it will start indexing our data in our Azure AI search. So what it does behind the scenes, actually, it indexes the entire chat playground, literally indexes our data in Azure AI search. So when data ingestion happens, when it comes to testing the same data next time, you don't have to upload the files again because your data will be available in Azure AI search right away. So if you go to Azure AI search and it happens every time to me. So there is an invisible button over there. I keep clicking. I'll put it like that. Okay, so there we go. We uploaded all of the files magically. And if you select the index, it will guide you to Azure AI search where all the data is indexed. That means that our data source, basically all of the files we uploaded were uploaded to blob storage, and data is indexed in Azure AI search and made it available for vector search experience for us. So resumes too, and before I jump into showing you how our data looks like, I just want to quickly show you what is available in the fields. So if we scroll down, there's something called content vector. So when I select this and save this, I will be able to see the content vector in my Search Explorer as well. Without writing anything, I'll just hit search to be able to see all the data we have. And we have some resumes, as I mentioned earlier. So we have chunked ID, parent ID, content itself, which is multi-language resumes we have available. So we have in Dutch, Arabic, Turkish, all of the different languages available, very diverse. And the same data, the same content is also available as content vector. That means that our search experience is not through text anymore, it's through vector. It is actually numeric. That means that we are not in the field of basically doing the search in a, let's say, English language or Turkish language. It's all about finding the relevant information from the vector data set available. So in that case, now, what we are using in the chat playground is directly the data set we have in Azure AI Search. Once you connect this, once you uploaded all of your files, you will be able to test out everything. And I will get a great question from our exercises, because we usually test these with a very long question. Yep. Can you suggest me a candidate who is suitable for Spanish speaking role that requires at least 2 years of .NET experience? So this is sort of a complex question, and the data set we have available, because we are enabling vector search, we should be able to get a really good answer. And as you see, we are able to get some suggestions out of the data set we have. What I want to do further is I want to connect this data set in Azure AI Search, my index, directly into Custom Engine Agent. Okay, so I hope you get a good understanding of how Azure AI Search works behind the scene. Next step for us is basically bringing this Azure AI Search experience into our Custom Engine Agent. You may remember this app I've created in the last community call from scratch using Teams Toolkit. In this session, we will basically add Azure AI Search integration in our Custom Engine Agent. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I need to do is I actually need to go to env.local.user, where I need to add my data sources. So a couple of things I need to include here, and I've already did. That's why I'm not clicking, so I don't want you to see my keys. But 4 things I've included in my env.local.user. The first one is the embedding deployment name, where we use for vector search. The second is the search key, third search endpoint, and then finally index name, which is going to be resumes 2 for us in the session. So I've already added all those. So for us to be able to make this work with Teams Toolkit, we need some sort of a configuration setup in Teams app.local.yaml. So I will just need to add all of these in the local YAML file as well. And right after that, we should go to config.ts. And to be able to use all of these keys in our app, we should also add all of the 4 keys we've included in our env file in the config.ts too. So next step for us is actually integrating the data source, which is Azure AI Search. So if you go to prompt/chat config.json, this is the place where we're going to add the data source, and I've already added that just to make sure we have enough time to go through everything. The data sources covers all of the data sources we want to include in our custom engine agent. In this case, our data source type is Azure AI Search, and everything, all of the endpoint, index name, search key, etc., are coming from the config that we've just added. And in addition to that, our search experience is going to be vector type. So the query is going to be in vector. Once you've included that, there will be small changes needed in the prompt that we've added in the first session we've had. I've just added 1 line here just to make sure that always mention all citations in your content. And after I customize the prompt, next step for us is app.ts. So let's see what changes we have to make in app.ts to be able to make Azure AI Search together with my custom engine agent. First, we need to add FS. So I've already installed FS, and we are going to use that just to make sure that we are able to use our configuration and basically environment variables we've just added, the 4 of them, as you remember. Next, we need to add Azure API version to make this example work with the relevant version. And by the way, you'll be able to find all these steps in our labs too. I'm just making sure that we don't lose any time so that I'm moving a bit quickly. Next step, and I will walk you through what this means. We are updating default prompt inside the planner. That means that now default prompt is not only chat, where we have chat, config.json, etc. But chat, obviously, as you remember, we need all of these environment variables to be able to make the Azure AI Search work. So to be able to do that, we are basically passing all of the keys from app.ts to the config.json by just using data sources, and we are passing the parameters we've already added in the config. And with that, we should be able to try out the same experience on Microsoft Teams. So what this actually does is, just to summarize what I just did, I basically added 4 environment variables in the local.user, and I added everything in the config.ts to be able to use Azure AI Search in the embedding model. I pass all of the parameters from default prompt, and then next step is just getting the configuration done in config.json, and it should just work fine with the setup. Hopefully, when it provisions, we will jump into the tab. I already have it open. Perfect. Okay, I don't need this. I already have something open. Okay, this is our agent. As you can imagine, I tested this before with the commit call. So let's try the same example we've just tried earlier. Oh, maybe we should say hi before, right? Just to be kind. Be kind to agents, everyone. It's important. Yes, so we get the same behavior as we did in the first session. Let's ask the same question now and see if we get similar experience with the chat playground. We just tested this question too. yeah, so we get a good recommendation, and if I hover over, I'm able to see the citation as well. So we are able to retrieve data from Azure AI Search. Just quickly, this will take 2 to 3 minutes, I promise to Vesa. There's also the follow-up lab that I want to quickly talk about, which is enhancing the user experience. And it's all about using some capabilities Teams AI Library provides, like feedback loop, enhanced citations with adaptive cards, also generated by AI label, sensitivity label, and all. Some of them are already coming as default to with the templates Teams Toolkit provides. For example, we already have thumbs up, thumbs down that is integrated in our source code. If you quickly go ahead and have a look, you will see that enable feedback loop is equal to true already in our app. So that means that if we want to actually get something or retrieve something or send something using thumbs up, thumbs down, we are able to do that. I'll quickly test that for you. And submit. So this should give us something in the output. As you can see, Copilot Camp rocks, and we are able to get the reaction like. So we are able to actually customize some of the experiences we're providing in Teams by just using app.feedbackloop. Another thing you can add is the AI label, which automatically comes in every agent response. But there are some other capabilities like adding adaptive cards, for example. I already have card edit in my app, and you'll be able to create that using our labs, and you should be able to make it work by just following the labs right away. But by using predicted say command, and I'm just gonna uncomment this. What predicted say command does is actually, instead of just replying in text format, you are able to customize the format of the agent, so the response of the agent format. So in that case, what I'm doing here is I'm using the create response card I already created. This is just a really basic adaptive card that I'm using for the citation, just to make sure that I get some more information about the data behind the scene. And in addition to that, in the activity entities, I have more than just the AI label. AI label is enabled in my adaptive card, but also I have sensitivity label where I define that this is a confidential information. We are sharing people's CVs, resumes, so make sure that you don't share this outside of the conversation. So these and some of the other additional capabilities, you can just do it easily using Teams AI Library. I'll just save this. And then I will ask something similar, but let's ask something different just to make sure that our agent is capable of answering questions other than just .NET. Okay, I'll ask, can you suggest, and this question is also available in our labs, can you suggest any candidates for a senior developer position with 7+ year experience that requires Japanese speaking? Let's see. For that, you should actually have a look at the resumes we have behind the scenes just to make sure that we have that person. But what I'm expecting is more advanced citation. Here, as you can see, the previous citation is a bit limited. If you want to customize the experience the way agent replies, then you can create your own adaptive card. And here we have some candidate suggestions. And if you click on the citation, you're able to see the full resume suggested for you. And in addition to that, instead of having only AI generated, we also have confidential label available in our answer. And we also have thumbs up and thumbs down button at the bottom. So this is all I wanted to share. I know this was quick, but if you go to Copilot Developer Camp, you will be able to build all of those from scratch by just following the build path labs. And if you have any questions, you can drop it in the chat. I'll be in the session to continue answering your questions in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'll give the session back to Vesa.
Excellent. Thank you, Ayça, on that one. Really, really cool. Let's jump directly to David and April. We might make it still. Let's see how this goes. David? April?
Yes, I'm known for talking a little fast, so we see what we can do. Awesome. Thank you, Vestas. Yeah. So we are here, everybody, to talk about Power Platform snippets. And you may see a Lego theme here because that is exactly what you can use these Power Platform snippets to do. Who am I? I am David Warner with Quisitive, and with me is
April Dunnam from Microsoft from the Power Platform Advocacy Team.
Yes, and we are both huge fans of all of you and YouTube. So these are QR codes to our YouTube accounts. We would love to have you subscribe and like and smash all those buttons everywhere. So check us out when you got a minute. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today? Well, we're going to cover what are snippets. We're going to go through a little bit of a sample browser tour. We're going to see snippets in action, and then we're going to talk about some VS Code tips, and we're going to talk about what our next episode will be, because this is a multi-part series. So we want you to be excited for what's coming up. So April, I heard there's this new cool way to copy, view, paste code of controls inside of Power Apps, Copilot, and Automate. Is that true?
That is very true. They're called snippets. So hence the Lego theme. They're kind of like reusable Lego blocks that you can use in your Canvas apps, in Copilot Studio Topics, and Power Automate Desktop to easily get up to speed and create things. So they're actually blocks of code that you can just copy and paste pieces of UI or logic into your solutions.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Well, what is the underlying technology for them?
Well, behind the scenes, it's actually using something called YAML or YML. You might have heard it referred to as.
Oh boy, are we talking about yet another markup language?
Well, yes, also no. So YAML did originally stand for yet another markup language because back in the day, they just couldn't resist making another config format with colons and indentations and all that. But the use case here is kind of different because instead of marking up text like HTML, YAML is all about data. So structured, readable, and config-friendly data that doesn't make your eyes bleed. So that's kind of the purpose of YAML.
Interesting. So I think what you're trying to say is YAML ain't markup language.
Well, funny that you mentioned that, David, because, because of the difference of how it's used, the creators, they kind of decided to get a little cheeky with it, and they changed the acronym for YAML to mean YAML ain't markup language. Literally, that is the acronym now.
What are the odds that I would have had all that ready for a demo? Amazing, right? All right, everybody, so let's get into it. What is going to be the demo we're going to talk about? Let's first start on how you can find some of these sample solution galleries. And April's going to cover that right now on how to use a couple of them.
Yep. So thankfully, we have a snippet repo out there. If you go to aka.ms/power platform-snippets, you can get right to our snippet repository, and we have all kinds of snippets to choose from. So when you first land here, you'll see several different folders of Copilot Studio snippets that you could copy and paste into your topic. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you go into a topic here, let's just go into any one of these, we can click on this More button, and we can switch to a code editor view, and you guessed it, this is all YAML. So you can share snippets that will go and write complete Copilot Studio topics for you. And we have some of those available here in our snippet repo. We also have Power Automate Desktop snippets, Power Pages even, and of course, Power Apps, which is what we're going to be focusing on today, how we can utilize some of these snippets. So they're all organized into folders. You can kind of browse and see what we have going on here. There's a few really cool ones like gradient backgrounds and even ones that are just individual layouts. So a snippet could be a really specific piece of code, like maybe just one image, for example, or it could be an entire screen or a screen layout, like what you're seeing here with this layout funnel example. But what I want to do, let's see how we can use some snippets to help me finish building out my Lego Vault application. So I've built this application. It's pretty cool. It lets me track an inventory of all the Lego sets that I have and that I built. And it's even using some cool AI stuff behind the scenes to automatically go and get information about those and do all the tagging. So all I have to do is upload an image. But as you can see, it's it's functional, right? I can add new items, I can see my recommendations and all that, but it's not very pretty. It just feels like it's missing something. So what I would love, first of all, is maybe some kind of welcome message here so it personalizes the experience. Thankfully, I think I saw something over here on our snippet repo, this welcome time of day message. This is a pretty short snippet, but it looks like it's going to get in my username and also somehow with some PowerFX magic is getting the time of day and an emoji to go along with that. That's pretty sweet. So I think I want to use this. So I can actually just use this copy button right here where it has the YAML code. I could go back to my app here, and I can just right click in a Canvas app if I want to use one of these snippets, and I can say paste, and there's a new paste code option, and that's going to allow me to paste that YAML snippet. And I can just reorder this, let's say move that to the start, and that's looking pretty sweet. I don't have to do anything. It's copied all of the Power FX logic in the text input, and it copied over this text right from the YAML. So that's pretty cool. It's already sprucing up my app. Now, another thing though that I'd really like here is this gallery is pretty basic, right? It's just the standard look and feel of the gallery. And I uploaded pictures of all of my Lego sets. I really would like this to be more visually appealing. I think I spotted a snippet in that repo for a product gallery. So it had kind of like a cool look and feel that I was liking here. So I think what I'll do is I'll copy this snippet here. And I'll see if I can make this work with my gallery. Let's see, I'll just delete this gallery because, I want to start over with my snippet. I'm going to go into this container and we'll paste in this new code. And we'll see what happens here. Whoa, okay, so there's a lot going on, but I think I don't need quite all of this. So I'm going to just start deleting some of this stuff. I don't think I need this container. I really just want the gallery piece because there's a lot going on with this particular snippet here. And then I think I need to connect it to my data. I see some errors. Let's see, it's pointing to a sample data source of pizza specials, which is cool. Who doesn't love pizza? But I'm going to change this to Lego inventories. That is my list here. And bam, it's already looking pretty sweet here. I don't need this either. I just want the gallery. And there we go. It looks like it's kind of set up. I can make some additional changes if I wanted to the fields that are showing. So let's see, I have the set name. That's really cool. Maybe for the product name, instead of created on, let's actually make that the set name. Oops, there we go. And let's like set number, cool, because I'm tracking the number and there's the set name and there's the price. So wow, that's looking pretty sweet already, all thanks to those snippets that we have there. And there is so much more that we could go on and on doing with these snippets, thanks to the snippet repo. We can even have internal created snippets. So I have a whole app dedicated to just storing a bunch of snippets. So if I need a confirmation delete dialog, I can come in to my Canvas app. I can right click and I could say copy code. If I want to share out one of these in my one app, or if I want to share this in the repo, whatever I want to do, I can just copy the code and maybe add that into my recommendation screen, for example. So I can add that right in here if I wanted this delete confirmation and paste that in from another app as well. So it's not just the sample repo. You can have your own internal resources with these snippets also. Lots we can do here, so many possibilities. You just saw the tip of the iceberg, but I think there's some more stuff that we can do here as well with maybe helping with documentation, things that we can even integrate with Visual Studio to help us in writing some of these snippets. Is that right, David?
Yeah, that is absolutely right, April. And so real briefly, we're also going to show you can find some of these snippets through the greater sample solution gallery as well. So we'll provide the links in the chat. But if you come into here, this includes all things under the sun Microsoft. And so if you're coming and you want to find some snippets, you could literally just come into the keyword area right here and type snippets. If you spell it right, snippets, there you go. But then it shows a variety of other things that you may or may not want. So you can come down to the filter. And for example, today we're focusing on Power Apps. So you can just select Power Apps. And when you do that, then you get things that are dedicated to snippets just in Power Apps. So for example, April created this SVG donut, which we'll talk about in a future call. And so I can go into that. I can see it on GitHub if I want. It opens it up. I can go into the actual source for it. And that's where you would get it. And as April showed, you can go in and you can select to copy the raw file. That's just a fancy way of saying, give me a copy of that whole file, right? And when I do that, then I could come over into VS Code and we can use VS Code for something. So here I've got VS Code or that donut file pasted in here. And you can use GitHub Copilot, which is pretty cool. So the first thing we want to do is let VS Code know exactly what our file type is. So if you select down here, nope, down there, everybody. You select which language mode you want. You can actually tell it. So it may not recognize it right away, but a YAML is something that is recognizable. So you do that, you see it kind of cleans it up. I'll go in and I'll say word wrap. And then right up here, I'm able to access GitHub Copilot. And so I'm going to go over there and I'm able to start a new chat. And when you do that, you could use this for creating some documentation. I'll be real quick here. We'll show. Please provide me documentation, because who loves to write documentation, right? Nobody. So let's let the technology do it for us. And what's cool is you'll notice, well, this isn't maybe documentation we were thinking of, like in terms of comments that would go in the code, but guess what? This would be great in a user doc. All this information here is pretty popular and valuable, right? It explains everything. But what if you did want comments? Well, I'll select new chat again, and I'll just paste it. I'm really kind of saying the same thing over and over. Can you please provide me code comments instead of documentation? When it does that, it's going to rewrite it, and it's going to do all of that in line. And you're like, well, that's great. Okay, well, but maybe I actually want it to be a chunk of comments at the beginning. Well, again, we can get very specific with our conversation with Copilot, right? So I'll replace, again, a new chat. I'm going to paste in here, and what I say is provide me an introductory comment block. So I'm being a little bit more specific about what I want. I'll hit that, and then bam, it'll provide me all of that. And so if I were to then come and put my cursor here at the front of my code, and I cover over some of these icons, that one right there says insert at cursor, right? So you can utilize all this functionality to take advantage of stuff. There we go. It's in there. You can then put that into the repo, which, by the way, we are going to talk about in our next episode. Here are some resources for you. We're going to talk about how you can contribute to the repo. We're going to talk about how you can put these in a component library for scalability and reuse, because that's really when the best of both worlds meet together and you're able to reuse these across multiple apps in a scalable way. So you get a badge, by the way, when you contribute. So we're going to cover all those things, some best practices and improvement practices, all that kind of stuff in our next episode. Bessa, back to you in the interest of time. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, April. Thank you, David. Really, really cool setup. And thank you for the great slides. So it's good to see fresh designs on the slides as well. So really cool. But thank you, Kanna. Thank you, Ayça. Thank you, April, David, one more time. Next week, we do have also a busy call. So on the 15th of April, we have DC talking about the updated Microsoft Graph APIs for SharePoint pages. We have Raman overview on PowerCat tools, and then Paolo Pialorsi is going to continue the Copilot Camps series on extending Microsoft 365 Copilot with Microsoft Copilot Studio. I think that's correct, Paolo. I think it is. Yes, that should be fine. But that's happening on 15th of April. So that's looking really, really good within next week as well. In the meanwhile, you can join on our other community calls, or you can have a engagement with the community in our Discord server. One of the options which are available for you at the AKMS Community Discord. A lot of people there already. We are always looking for feedback. AKMS Community Calls feedback is the form to fill in on that one. Doesn't take long, but always welcoming those feedback and ideas. If we can improve something within these calls, always open for those ideas. Recording will be available at Microsoft Community Learning channels within 24 hours at AKMS Community YouTube. And as mentioned, it is next community calls in 15th of April, not on 8th of April, like is actually defined right now on the slide. But thank you, everybody, for joining today. Thank you for the presenters one more time. See you next time. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.